Good evening and welcome to the Monday, November 15th Redevelopment Commission meeting. Call the meeting to order at 6:30 tonight. With me tonight is our president, Brody Duncan, our member, Gordon Rundle and Rhonda Schwartz, and our school representative, Dr. Terry Reed, and our economic development director, Tim Gropp, and in the audience is executive assistant, Eder Lopez. We have a confirmation of a quorum here tonight, and the meeting was the proper notice was posted for the meeting. We have a few guests with us tonight. Would anybody like to make a public comment?
We received none online either.
Thank you.
Hi there. I'm Gary Rakes. I live at 5420 West 15th Street. I'm also a member of the town council. And knowing that, I'm not sure if you'll be recognizing Brody, I'm sure you'll be making some comments. Mm-hmm. I wanted to personally come here at your last meeting as a redevelopment commission member and thank you. And your wife, Allison, for your commitment to the town. We totally understand that you needed to go back to Grand Rapids for family reasons. There's an opportunity there beyond that. But we appreciate everything you've done to make our community better. And I personally enjoyed getting to know you. I look forward to when you return, and whether that's to go to the race or play golf or whatever it might be. Look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you.
So appreciate all the things that have been accomplished in your time here. So thanks again.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Gary. All right. We'll move on to the consent of the regular session meeting minutes for our October meeting. Those were previously distributed. Were there any other comments or corrections? All right. So we'll approve those by consent. Next on the agenda is the approval of claims and expenses. Tim, can you run through those with us?
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary. We had some tax bills for properties that we had purchased last year. Those should fall off for next year. We always have to pay the in the rear there. Everything else, we re-upped the surety bonds for those of you that will be continuing on. And that is about it. Everything else was either project related through TIF or our typical transactions. Happy to answer any questions.
Pretty short one this month. Any other questions for Tim? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
Awesome. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes 4-0. Next on the agenda is the director's report. Tim?
Yeah, several items. I actually have some pictures today, so I'm teeing up Brian here. The 1400 block, that work is completed, minus we have 4 additional planters being delivered this week, and just some signage and whatnot, cleanup that we have to do there. There's an aerial picture of it. Much cleaner, seems to be much more efficient. I've gotten pretty good feedback. We really like the stamped concrete, so we hope to continue that in additional projects as well. Overall, very pleased. I like the location of the entranceway. I think it's much safer, getting it away from the buildings. And again, we were actually able to add a spot. Originally, we'd lose about 2 spots, but we added a spot kind of back up where the van is there, kind of where the catering van is, and then we're debating whether to mark the street or not. Previously, we had them marked to kind of identify it, but so far it's working pretty well and it looks nicer, so we might leave it unmarked and just, if it becomes a problem, we can address it at one of our other projects. So we're very pleased with that, and I think it was a good investment by the SRC. 1300 block, we are at, this week, weather pending, they're planning on pouring some of the slab. This is a little older picture. They're a little further, so they're all prepped to put down the vapor barrier and pour some of the slab, and then also put the base down on the parking lot this week if possible. So moving right along, and they're anticipating being able to put up steel starting this week as well. So you're going to see some significant progress over the next couple weeks on 1300 block. That's moving along nicely. And brace yourselves for this one, 5 years coming. We actually closed on the land swap last week. So everything went to the closing agency. It was being recorded. I am waiting on the recorded documents to come back, which I need the recorded deed to get moving on our 16th Street property. We're going to probably, at this point, it's so late in the season, we're probably going to get the storm drainage in and some of the concrete work done and prep it for the spring to come back and pave and kind of. Obviously, we're not going to plant the landscaping this fall or anything, winter. So, but we'll get moving on that as soon as I get that recorded deed. But that was a long time coming, and excited to move forward on that project. I did a little analysis today. Look for some emails from me in the coming days, just analyzing our 2021 TIF estimates. We're starting to get some of the numbers in. Things look good in the next year, pretty healthy, in particular on personal property. That being said, there's been some already pre-legislative noise about making changes to personal property. That makes us very nervous here because we are smaller communities and communities dependent with larger industry depend on that local revenue of personal property income, so that would be a huge impact to us. And so we're already making sure that we sound the alarms that anything that could possibly happen either doesn't, or it's minor changes, or there's a replacement to that income in another direction, so it doesn't put us in a really bad spot. That being said, we're pretty healthy for next year. However, we're going to start in anticipation, because every year it gets targeted, start building up a reserve for the later years. We're on the back end of our TIF, but we want to make sure that we're not put in a bad spot. So I'll get you some additional information on that. But 2022 should be a decent year. 10th and Castle, we're just still working on coordination. So the last line that AES needed to take off the pole ended up being Indianapolis's power to the intersection, so it was hanging on the line. So that's going to have to get buried now as part of the project, so we're looking into that and see what those costs will be. Outside of that, we're still moving forward. From our standpoint, they can start doing some of the preliminary work and setting everything, but we're kind of at the mercy of the light poles being delivered and the strain poles being delivered. So there's been no update on that. So we'll see what gets done this winter. It might be a spring project. We'll keep you posted. We have had some complaints about the landscaping out at Founder Square. Code enforcement has sent some documentation out to Shelby, the developer, Rebar. He ended up calling me last week, didn't realize that his landscaper wasn't getting out there. So they're going to clean it up for the winter the best they can. It was getting pretty out of control. He was embarrassed by it and apologized to the town. They're going to get it cleaned up for the winter, and then there's still a landscaping package that hasn't been completed yet, and that will be done in the spring as soon as the weather breaks. So there's additional trees that still need to get planted, grass needs to be redone, and he's considering actually scraping back again and kind of starting over because it's gotten out of control. So he's aware of that situation. We're working to correct that. Just wanted to note that. I think, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, the Wilshaw update. So, yep, I'm going to go through the presentation. So last week we had a group come in. We had an announcement that there is a group, 33 Degrees, the equity firm, and their partner, their sister company, Hotel Equities, the management firm, came and presented to the town council last week. And I want to run through that, let you know we're excited about this. This is a reputable firm that has equity to get the project done, has invested into it, and also has management experience of hotels. So we're very comfortable with them. And Brian, you can go ahead to the next slide. Part of the presentation is this project is not changing from what was presented. It's still a 127-room Hilton Tapestry Hotel. It has 1,500 square feet of meeting space, and it has a 2,000 square foot restaurant. So they're not we're not opposed to some minor changes. We've talked about maybe a rooftop bar, things like that, but for the purposes of how far along we are with architecture, building materials already ordered, and financing, we don't have any indication that it's going to change from what was designed originally. Next slide, please. Hotel equities, they're all throughout the U.S. and Canada. They're about 38% Marriott, 29% Hilton, and 14% IHG, so they cover the main brands. As you can see from their slide, they have done multiple different flags at different levels, and Hilton was actually the one that introduced them to Loftus Robinson in the first place, so very comfortable with that relationship. Next slide, please. And again, they're all connected, so 33 degrees on the equity side, as well as Virtua Partners are ones that we had met with early on, and then Hotel Equities would be the hotel management side. So both of them have strong leadership, have been very good so far with communication, and are working diligently, and we're comfortable they have put some true equity into the project already, so we feel that they're committed and they're going to find a way to get this project up and running. Next slide, please. And again, just a little bit more about where they have projects, and move on to the next one. And these are projects under construction right now, so they're able to manage multiple projects at one time and have investments throughout the country. Next one. So we are diligently, so they have a primary and a secondary financing lined up. The primary is telling them they can get closed by the end of the year. However, we don't want to necessarily put that on that timeline in case something happens. So we're just kind of saying beginning of the new year, give us a little flexibility in there. In the meantime, attorneys in particular are working on all the necessary contracts. From an SRC/EDC standpoint, I'm trying to wrap that up at the new year. We will need to assign, the current documents, all the legal documents, the EDA and all the ancillary documents will be assigned to this new group. They will not be amended or changed at all. So we'll have to do that and kind of flush out what that new group is first. And they need to have control of the property. So there's a little bit of a timing lineup where they have to have everything in line with Loftus, with Wilhelm, Scannell lined up. And once that's all set, we'll shift over the documents to their liability. And then from our standpoint, we have a Fourth Amendment to the EDA that we'll want to propose and get signed as well. So we'll see how quickly we can do that. It might bleed into the new year, but we're frantically trying to get that wrapped up and done as best we can. We're setting up a weekly call with their groups just to make sure that we're staying on top of everything, hearing all the progress and anything that we need to be working on. And then if everything goes well, we're targeting construction, remobilization in the first quarter of 2023 when the weather breaks. It's about a 12-month construction project. A lot of the supplies are already sitting in a store area, so they should be able to remobilize pretty quick, and then be done around May of 2023, Q1 of 2023, and then stabilize the project, just opening costs and everything, by Q4 of 2023. So we're excited about that. Happy to answer any questions. Still a lot of, we emphasize it's not a done deal. We still got a lot of work to do, but I feel it's on the right path with the right partner, and we're working through all those details.
I think one of the other promising things to hear from them was that they had a handful of other troubled projects that they had taken on and gotten to completion. So they're aware of some of those special quirks and challenges that this poses, and that hopefully they can anticipate some of those stumbling blocks and get over them. Any other questions for Tim?
Almost got it done before you left, Brody. So close.
I feel good about it. For the first time as a member of this board, I finally feel good about it.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a long, long journey.
Happy that we're there.
Still got a long way.
I will look forward to coming back and staying in that hotel. Do have to say that.
Few other things, just short notes. I was able to participate, be a judge in the NAIOP University Challenge at Delara. This Association of Commercial Brokers. We did a mock redevelopment we had 6 teams from 5 universities participate. I think I got a picture there, Brian. We had 2 from IU, University of Indianapolis, IUPUI, Ball State, Butler, and I think I just named 5. 2 from IU. That always throws me off. And it was a fun day. Really creative concepts. We had given them the idea that the concept that Roger Penske wants to redevelop 16th Street, and what would you do? What would your vision be? With the idea that there's obstacles there, and like pipelines and infrastructure, as well as the balance of needing parking for a few major events per year, but also wanting to maximize AV. So conceptual, we had participation from Tyrone Garrison at the IMS. It was a lot of fun, a lot of neat ideas, and happy to host that and love to do it again sometime.
Do you know if any of that is available online?
I don't know if it is, and again, I just want to emphasize it wasn't a real project. At this time, it's not a real project.
Sounds like some good interns there.
Very impressed with all the university students, though. So, a little quick shout out to Eder Lopez. He represented the SRC at Trunk or Treat this year, and between my win at the chili cook-off and Eder's win at the Trunk or Treat, SRC is having an amazing year and representing you guys really well. Thank you, Eder. And then there is a food drive going on right now up in Town Hall. I thank our town manager, Grant Kleinhentz, for organizing and pursuing that. Live shot from today. We're still, feel free to bring in donations. We're collecting until December 17th. There's 2 local food banks that we are partnering with, and we'll distribute that food at that time. We're getting a nice collection now, but there's plenty of room for much more. So if you feel the desire, please bring some food in. And then last but not least, if you're interested in serving on a board or commission in the town, we are accepting names in particular from our realm, the economic development side. We have the Speedway Redevelopment Commission, the Economic Development Commission, the Redevelopment Authority, and the Building Corp, and there are vacancies on all 4 of those boards. But there's many more to fit any need or interest that you are looking for. The Parks Board, the BZA, Board of Zoning Appeals, Community Development Corporation, Arts Council. Plenty of openings, plenty of opportunities for you to become part of your community and involved in your community, and we'd appreciate it. You can go to the Town of Speedway website, and there is an interest form on the Town of Speedway website that you can fill out indicating what your interests are, and the Town Council will be looking at appointing people here, if not next month into January, as those positions need filled. In particular, the SRC, Barry has recently resigned, and Brody is stepping down, so we need people and ideas. So appreciate it. And that is all I have this evening.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim. All right, moving on to new business. We have a consideration of proposal for the linear park conceptual design.
Yes, so we have had, with the land swap and recently with the Legion Road, and then just different conversations with IMS, their future plans. Back in 2011 or so, when we first started redevelopment and some of this, there were some conceptual linear park plans put together that were kind of pie in the sky, like big dreams, threw in a little bit of everything, not necessarily realistic to accomplish and get done. However, there is a desire to make sure that we have a robust trail system throughout the town, including northern, a lot of our trails are on the south side of Crawfordsville Road. So there's desire to, whatever the future of Georgetown Road is, that we have what we're calling a linear park, you could call it a trail, that goes up and is just a little more robust than it is. It doesn't have grade elevation changes, doesn't have things like that. So we need to kind of look at what that future might be. There's no current plan. However, we want to make sure we're preserving what we're going to need in the future. We got to take in considerations large crowds that go through there, being able to move pedestrians in and out of events at IMS, but also allowing a 365-day-a-year multi-use trail up and down Georgetown Road, no matter what the future of Georgetown Road is. So this was kind of predicated, and there's quite a bit of money out there now through stimulus dollars and now infrastructure dollars, and we're just not prepared to go after it. We don't want to miss opportunities, so we want to get some conceptual ideas down, kind of know what kind of right-of-way. We have a lot of right-of-way up there. We want to make sure it's enough, and if there's any areas we have concern about, we need to make sure that we're preserving that. And then also any amenities that we'd like along the way there as well. We want some interactive spots. We don't want to overdo it like the previous plans necessarily, but we want to make sure that we're planning for the future. And then, there was the big announcement to the north of us. There's some desire to, I had met earlier in the year with International Marketplace Committee. There's a volunteer committee. There's some desire to improve the connectivity from that 38th Street down to Speedway as well. So at the end of 25th and Georgetown, how are we connecting to the north? How are we planning to connect a trail system to the west? Whether that's on the north side along the Coke route or whatever. We just need to start getting some estimated pricing and some concepts into what we want the future of that area to be. We don't own a lot of property in that area anymore, and so that's what this is. This isn't in depth. We're not doing surveys. We're not doing any of the title work, anything like that. This is just this is what we see the future of Georgetown Road being, working with IMS, working with property owners in the area, as well as looking at what assets the town currently owns for the future of Speedway. I'm happy to answer any questions. The contract is with American Structure Point, who had done a lot of the work in the area anyways, so they already have a lot of the CAD work and right-of-way and things like that. And again, this is kind of step one of a longer process, but we want to have something in place to show that we've looked at the vision, so when grants and opportunities come up, we're more prepared than we are today. Happy to answer any questions.
All right. Any questions for Tim?
Are we considering any plans from any firms other than Structure Point?
Not for this particular one. We could do that in the future steps. This is kind of step one, and just with their history there and the information they already have, this was the one that was pursued.
All right.
It's well under the threshold as well, just for note.
All right. No other questions. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion for the consideration proposal for Linear Park conceptual design.
I'll second the motion.
Just one other note on that as well, because I like to talk. Again, this is not committing the SRC to a long-term development of trail. The town's obviously going to be very involved in all these additional steps, as well as any kind of development of the trail system. So this is, again, similar to the Wolpert study, trying to push development forward, make sure we're not missing opportunities, but not necessarily developing the whole thing ourselves. That's all.
All right. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 4-0. Next on the agenda is some old business, final approval of our 2022 operating budget.
So we had done a preliminary approval, and council has gone through and done their steps, and the only thing that changed from our preliminary approval to having a final approval for the record is when we first put it together, we were told to put a 15% increase in health insurance. The actual number was about 9.6%. I have it on there. could look for you. That was the only change that we made, was a decrease in health insurance. Still a significant increase, but less than what's budgeted for. And I don't take the insurance anyways, but this time, so it is reflected in there, and those numbers are changed. So besides that, it's the same budget that was presented back in, I think, September. So.
Looks good. All right, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the 2022 operating budget.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2020 operating budget as submitted.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes 4-0. All right. One last thing tonight, well, maybe not last, but as Gary mentioned earlier, this is Brody's last meeting with us. So before we talk about you, would you like to say anything?
I'd like to thank the town council. I'd like to thank the late Tom Popcheff, who was president prior to me serving as president, and appreciate his mentorship. It's been an honor to serve. I've enjoyed serving with the team. I feel like we have a nice, diverse group of people with diverse opinions, and that serve the town well from many different thought processes. I'd like to thank Tim Grob. Been great to work with. I've appreciated it. We've learned as we've gone a little bit, and grateful for that opportunity. Also like to thank Tim Ramian, who's retired earlier this year. Was a great member of the team. Eder, appreciate everything you've done and coming on. And the last thing is I want to know how much it cost him to buy the chili from the famous Tomato to win the chili cook-off.
Hormel.
It's amazing what you can do in the crock pot.
No, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm grateful for the things that we've accomplished in the town, and continue to be on a path to accomplish more things. So I'm leaving it in good hands, and grateful for you guys' time as well. So thank you.
You've been a great leader, steadfast, and your commitment to the community has always been above and beyond. So got some big shoes to fill, for sure, but we're really going to miss you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure serving with you. You've done a great job, and I wish you and your family well on your next adventure.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Yeah, I appreciate getting to know you and work with you, and it's definitely our loss. You've been an asset since the day one you stepped on here, for sure.
Appreciate it. There's so many things I could say here, but I've been blessed with really great board members since I've been here in Speedway, and just your dedication. I could think of all these events like Rockin' on Main and that horrible weather, and you putting up a tarp over the stage, and I'm sitting there thinking, doesn't he have a job? Or but
This one doesn't pay very well.
yeah, this one doesn't pay anything. I think that's an important thing. Is this is volunteer hours, and you put a lot of hours in, and you've really given back to this community. Your whole family. I mean, your daughters were there too. So, but your wife Allison served on this board and has done numerous things for this community as well. So it is a huge loss for this community. I know it'll always have a fond place in your heart. At least I hope it does.
It does.
And we'll have a tough time replacing you, but it's tough to be on the board. It's even tougher to be the president. And it takes up more time and effort and meetings. But you've always stepped up. You've taken that extra time, and we really appreciate it. And thank you for all you've done for the town of Speedway.
Thank you.
Thanks. Any other announcements or events coming up?
December 1st is Light the Night on Main Street that the town is putting on. So I believe it's from 5:30 to 7:30, but you can always go to the town of Speedway Facebook page to get more information.
Great.
All right, and with Shop Small Saturday coming up, make sure to visit your local shops and restaurants here and help them out. And anything else tonight? All right, we'll adjourn the meeting at 6:59.
Half hour.